Welcome back, everyone. I have a short standing pose practice for you today, and I really want to emphasize before we start, we're going to be playing with shoulder movement in standing poses. And it's not about getting the shoulder movement right. It's about learning to feel more about what's going on in your shoulder blades and where the arm bone moves in the shoulder, and noticing how that affects how you feel in the pose. It's not really about there's a best way to do it necessarily, although there might be, especially for you as an individual. You may find that some of these positions feel better than others. It's important to listen to that, to trust your body, to stay in the range of motion that feels really comfortable for you and easy, right? We're looking for a sense of ease within the poses. So we're going to start in Tadasana, mountain pose. And as you're here, you might start to just move a little bit. We don't need to micromanage the foot placement or anything like that for our purposes today, but just feeling your weight moving around on your feet. Noticing that shifting center of gravity, right? What that feels like. And then coming towards what feels like center. We're going to soften the knees and the hips just a little bit. So we're letting the weight come all the way down into the feet. Starting to imagine that you're breathing from the soles of your feet up to the crown of your head. Exhaling back down into the floor. And then you might straighten a little more through the joints of the legs without losing that sense of grounding. And we're going to start by just rolling the shoulders here. So you've kind of set your weight, you've set your center of gravity, and now you're making circles with the shoulders. And you're just going to notice how that feels, not just for the shoulders, but does it change anything down into your feet, right? Are you feeling things down in the side waist, the spine, the hips, the knees, whatever, right? So we're just noticing. And then you're going to make those circles in the opposite direction. Nice. And then we're going to come to stand. So now you're going to take one arm, doesn't matter which one, take it out a little bit from your body. The hand relax. And we're going to think about doing a little rotation. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to think about moving just at the upper arm. So as the upper arm rotates, you might notice the pit of the elbow moves. But we're going to try to keep the hand relaxed, and we're going to try to keep the forearm out of it. So you're just moving at the upper arm. And then you're going to add the forearm. So you go as far as you go in the upper arm, and then you're going to rotate through the forearm and the hand, noticing sensations, finding a range of motion that feels good to you. Now, when you go back the other way, often we want to use the hand. See what happens if you use the upper arm first, and then let the forearm follow, right? So we're just playing with what that feels like. Getting the different parts of the arm moving. Noticing how they connect, and importantly, noticing sensation. So if any of this is kicking up some discomfort for you, keep the movements really small, make them really slow, skip them if you need to, right? So we're all just exploring these movements, that's all we're doing. So now we're going to come to the other arm, same thing, hold it out a bit from the side, relax the hand and the fingers if you can. Think about the upper arm rotation first. So you're just seeing how much the upper arm moves on this side on its own, seeing if you can keep the forearm and the hand quiet. And then you might rotate the upper arm, add the forearm and the hand and the wrist, all that movement. And then see if you can go back through the upper arm and let the rest of the hand follow. And you're just going to notice what you feel. And then this is not about as big as possible. This is about where is that zone where you feel relatively comfortable and easy. Maybe there's some challenge starting to come in towards the end of your movement, but you're not pushing or forcing here at all. And then you're just going to notice how you feel. So we've done some full shoulder circles. We've done a little rotation here. And then one more thing, we're going to do one arm at a time. You take the arm out to the side and up. And bring the arm back down. And as you go, you'll see if you can tune in to what's happening in the back of your shoulder. So noticing what you feel around the shoulder blade, as well as paying attention to what your spine is doing. So sometimes as we do this movement, the spine will twist or back bend as you're coming in. So we'll try to keep the rib cage and the spine really quiet, and just bring the arm up as far as it comes up and bring it back down. And then you might do the other side. Now here the range of motion might be different, so that's okay. Bringing the arm up, bringing the arm down, paying attention to sensations in the back of the shoulder. Can you feel movement around the shoulder blade? Are you not sure? So one thing as we make this brain-body connection, right, is that there's a lot of things that if we haven't been using them, they can be really hard to feel. And that's okay. It's not about achieving anything, showing how much you can feel in your body, right? It's about getting curious and really starting to develop these connections. So after you've done a few of these movements in both of your shoulders, you're going to stand again, soften the joints of the leg, let your weight come down into your feet. If you straighten back out through those lower joints, keeping a sense of grounding. And then we're going to step the feet a little bit wider here. Not going too wide yet, and just a little wider than your normal stance. We're going to think about moving at the hip here. So we take the toes out about 45 degrees or so. So not all the way out to the side, right, but a little bit of rotation happening in the hips. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to come into some goddess legs here. So you're taking your knees towards the toes. As you're coming down, you're feeling your whole body from the pelvis to the head moving like it's on an elevator. So it's just going to come down and descend. You're going to find a place where you feel comfortable holding for a little while. And then once you're there, you can kind of play with bringing the arms up, bringing the arms back down, noticing what you feel. And then you're going to bring the arms up just to about parallel to the floor. And then we're going to play with this rotation here. So see if you can find the rotation in the upper arm first. And I know there's a lot of work going on in the legs. So you can always straighten and come up. It's all good. So we're just noticing here what we feel, what feels better. Letting the arms come down, pressing into the floor, straightening the legs. From here, we're going to turn the feet back, step in, come back to your mountain pose. Just take a moment, finding your breath, moving from your feet to your head. And back down into the earth. Now we're going to take the feet a little bit wider, maybe, at least as wide as you had them. They might come a little bit wider if you still feel like you can stand easily. If it starts to feel like you're tipping, and you need to counteract that with some tension, bring the feet in a little bit. We want to be able to just stand with ease, centered, without a whole lot of tipping and tucking going on through the pelvis, right? And then we're going to take, let's take the right leg. We're going to rotate it to the right all the way. So as we do that, the leg's going to rotate in the pelvis, and then for a lot of us, we're going to run out of rotation here. And so the pelvis is going to follow a little bit, and I want you to just let that happen. So we're not necessarily trying to be square here. From here, you're going to take your hands to your hips. Now we're going to think about moving the pelvis on the legs as we come towards a triangle stance. So as we're going here, pelvis is moving. You're going to notice the angle change at my legs, yeah? Because as the pelvis tips, the hip sockets are going to move too. And I'm imagining that I'm pouring a bowl of water out over my right foot. So I'm coming in, I'm going to hold this position. I'm going to let my bottom arm be on the leg or the hip, whatever feels good. And I'm going to find the same movement in the top arm now. I'm going to bring it all the way up and all the way back down. All the way up and all the way back down. Feeling what's happening on the back of my shoulder and just noticing, where do I want to have that arm? What happens as I go? And then I'm going to come bring that arm out from the shoulder, and I'm going to decide where I want to be in terms of the rotation. So just noticing what that does. If you want to bring the bottom arm out too, you can, feeling the strength of your side body supporting you. When you come out though, we're really going to come out from the hips, turn those front toes forward, and we're just going to come to the other side now. So thinking about rotating. The thigh is going to rotate. Pelvis might follow a little bit. If so, the body follows, no big deal. Standing and feeling, looking for a sense of steadiness here. Then we'll bring the hands to the hips. First thing we're going to do is find this movement of the pelvis. So if the pelvis is a bowl of water, I'm pouring that water out over the left leg, the rotated leg. I'm feeling the angles of the leg bones change as my pelvis moves. And then I'm going to come in and hold. Any amount, right? This doesn't have to be a big movement. Bottom hand can be on the hip or down on the leg or wherever it feels good. Top arm's going to come up and over. And I'm just feeling what that feels like now in this position. What changes as that arm comes up? And is there a place it feels really good to have this arm? Might be different from the other side. For me, it is. So where this arm really wants to be, it feels really good. You might add some rotation. I'm in a position where rotation is really not available. So I could rotate my forearm and my hand, but not so much my shoulder. So you can kind of play with that too. If you take a different position, do you want to rotate? This is just not where it's at. Other arm can play too if you want. No need to be symmetrical necessarily with the arms. It's good for our brains to kind of play, right? When you come out, you want to come out through the hips. We're going to turn these toes forward. We're going to step the feet together. Just coming into your regular stance, Tadasana. Maybe softening a little bit. Maybe noticing if your connection to your feet has changed. If anything else has changed about how it feels to stand here. And one more, we're going to take the feet a little wider. Similar stance to what we just did for that baby triangle. We're going to take the right toes again to the right, thinking about moving from the hip first, letting the pelvis follow if need be, letting the body be how it is, right? If we want to, we can do a little rotation through the rib cage so that we're facing more towards the side of the mat, but it isn't necessary to do that. So again, it's not a shoulder thing, but it is an internal felt sense of the pose thing, right? if you've been told you need to square, right, to an edge of your mat, know if that actually feels good for you or not, right? Nothing wrong with being on a little bit of an angle. We're not super square beings, right? So we're going to think about this front leg. Now you're going to play with bend. So now we're keeping the pelvis level. It's not so much on an elevator, because as this leg bends, we're going to lower, the body's going to come a little lower, right? And you might notice this back leg needs to move at the hip too. Otherwise, there's a lag in the back. So getting that angle to change in the back leg as well, coming in as much or as little as feels good. I'm not super worried about this knee going in front of the ankle. As long as it feels comfortable for you, hang out wherever you like. We do want to see if that knee can go more or less towards the middle toes of the foot. So see if we can track it over in that direction a little bit. If not, that's a video for another day. And then conventionally in this posture, we're going to take the arms up, right, to about parallel to the floor. Now, if your body is turned, your arms are going to line up with your body. So you might be a little bit off on an angle. It's all right. It's all good. So if you're normally trying to square through the arms and you get any discomfort here, you might see what happens if you just let the arms line up with the body, and then you can either rotate the rib cage or not, right? So then as you're here, you might play with what happens if I rotate upper arm, forearm, hand, and then upper arm, right? Just playing with that. And is there a place of ease? Is it this way? Or does it feel really good to be like this right now? Just noticing where you're at. And then from here, we'll bring the hands down to the pelvis. Feel free to straighten the knee if that feels better, or you can leave that knee bent. We're going to find that same pelvic movement that we did in triangle. So now we're coming down kind of towards an extended side angle of sorts. A little more weight in this front leg. So if this front leg needs to be straighter towards triangle, do that instead. Think about this back arm. This arm can just rest. Back arm's going to come up and over. So now we're really reaching, noticing how that feels, noticing what changes, and really feeling, as we did in standing, the back of the shoulder. So noticing what happens in the back of the shoulder, as well as any sensations that happen. So if you're getting some discomfort, do you want to come out a little bit with this arm? Anywhere in the spectrum, right? Rotation is possible, so you're just seeing where you want to be. When you come out, I'm going to bring the arm out first. We're going to think about coming upright through the pelvis, straightening the leg, rotating back. And we'll just come over to the other side. So left toes over to the left, thinking about hip movement, maybe some pelvic movement. Your body ends up where your body ends up. If you want to do a rotation, okay, but you don't have to, right? Taking a moment to stand and feel, and then we're going to bend this left knee towards the middle toes. As much or as little as feels good. Looking for a change in angle here in this back leg as we go, right? And then finding where you want to be. You're going to hold. If you want to, you can bring your arms up, a little more conventional warrior two, arms parallel to the floor. And feel free to experiment with some movement. Experimentation doesn't have to be symmetrical. So what happens if I do this, right? What happens if I do this? Not liking that so much. This is kind of cool, right? So you just see. Paying attention to what the shoulders do for you in this pose, right? And then you can either leave this leg or give it a break. Totally fine. Stay in triangle if you like. Totally fine. We're going to see if we can find that pelvic shift. So now weight is coming down, more weight is coming down into this front leg. Right? Wherever you end up in the pelvis is fine. Wherever you end up in the knee is also fine. Right? This hand's just going to rest. This hand's going to play. So where do you want to be? And try to see if it feels good to come up and over. If that doesn't feel good, notice why it doesn't feel good, right? Like, what do you feel in your body? And what adjustment gives you more ease? Is it coming out a little bit this way? You can't rotate very well up here, but if you come down, maybe you want to find something else. Maybe there's a shoulder blade shift that happens for you. So maybe you want to be down here. Totally fine. And there's all kinds of reasons why you might feel better in one place than another. When you're ready to come out, we're going to come out from the hips. The shoulder first. I moved my shoulder before that, so I didn't cue it. Straighten the leg, turn forward, step in. And then we're just going to stand. So coming back to Tadasana, your mountain pose. Noticing how you feel now, right? What changed as we did this practice? You might shift your weight a little bit again, feeling into your connection to the floor. Maybe soften. Maybe straighten a little bit. Use the breath to connect feet to head and back to feet. So I hope that this encourages you to play a little bit with the shapes. There are, in some cases, reasons why we do the shapes the way we do them, and there's a lot of different bodies, right? So how you want to do the shape might not match up with that reason why somebody came up with the shape the way they came up with the shape, right? So this is your license to play a little bit and to notice what happens as you do that. And that's an interaction of what's going on in your individual body and some sort of general physics and mechanical stuff that might be happening within the shape of the pose. Go slow so that you can recognize if something doesn't feel good, don't do it, right? Have fun. If you have questions that have come up or you want to share what happened when you did this, I'd love to hear that stuff in the comments. Thank you so much for practicing with me. May we all be balanced and well.